Hello and welcome to Sarasota for Living, the podcast. On this podcast, we talk to local businesses and local experts here in the Sarasota real estate market to help you figure out what's best for you and your family when it comes to moving here to Sarasota and living in Sarasota. So let's get on with the podcast. Hello, this is Dan Henson here at the Sunbiz Studios, your realtor here in Sarasota, Florida. Today we have a special guest with us, Will Rosselle. We're actually mutual friends. We've met in the past in our childhood, and we have some mutual friends. We kind of got back together again, and come to find out, Will is a top agent here in Florida too. So we thought we'd get together and have some time and chat about real estate here in Florida. So welcome, Will, to the studio.
Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Nice reconnecting.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's so funny. We go back to Virginia Beach. We're both surfers. Love real estate. I love real estate. And we had a friend of mine reach out that we're all childhood friends, but Dave was like a friend for both of us, and we kind of met through that. Yep. And Dave is a realtor also up in Virginia Beach, and we reached out. You guys reached out and said, "Hey, we're going to get into this video stuff. Want to talk about some marketing and just general Florida real estate." So we connected. Here we are. You're one of the top producers over on the East Coast here of Florida in the Jupiter area.
Yep.
Now, how long have you lived there?
I moved there in 2001 from Northern Virginia.
Okay. All right. I know that your company has just picked up a nice new office over here on the West Coast. Maybe we can talk a little bit about that. So,
Sure.
Kind of let's let people know who you are. I mean, we kind of just started talking about Jupiter a little bit, but, I don't really understand the market over there. So anybody who wants to be East Coast, I got a guy for you.
Perfect. So, yeah, I got into the industry in 2001. I had been in IT sales up in Northern Virginia, and unfortunately, there weren't really any IT companies down here. So I had to reinvent myself, and I got my real estate license. I started off, actually ended up starting a company with a builder, owned my own brokerage. I represented about 5 or 6 small custom builders, and I would help them sell spec homes and pre-construction homes. Unfortunately, in 2007, the market tanked.
Oh, man, what a rough time.
Yeah, I had to reinvent myself, and I realized I didn't really like managing people so much and being a broker, and what I really enjoyed was showing property. So I got back to doing what I truly believe I do best. So I ended up stumbling into Golden Bear Realty, which is owned by the Nicholas family. Mike Nicholas, Jack's youngest son, is my broker.
Oh, wow.
And he ended up, he was looking for a buyer broker, and I found him. And my first 8 years in real estate, I never even showed $1 million house. And within months, I was showing $1 million houses. And since then,
it's a big change.
Yeah, I've been doing that. I've been with them about 13 years now. Unlike a traditional agent who just focuses on a community or a town or even a county, I cover a very, very large area. I basically go where my clients' needs take us.
And that's pretty much Florida, right? Everywhere in Florida?
Southern Florida. I mean, I've literally sold homes from Delray all the way to Vero and all the way out to the west coast of Florida.
Yeah, so you've been in Jupiter for a while, especially with that company. They have such a big, I'd say, draw because his name is very well known,
Yep.
especially in the golf world. In South Florida, I mean, golfing, South Florida, kind of goes together.
For sure.
And so, we were talking about, you do a lot of business in that Jupiter area and covering that area, but your company has just taken on a new office here on the West Coast. Can you talk a little bit about that new office?
Yeah, so we're super excited about this. We actually we have an exclusive agreement with the developers of a community called Babcock Ranch, and it's actually the first solar-powered town being built in the world. Right now, there's about 4,000 doors. There's another probably 16,000 coming.
Oh my gosh, I didn't realize it was gonna be that big.
Yeah, and we're literally building a city, and it is incredible. I mean, it's been around for about 8 years, so it's not in the very, very beginning stages, but it's still got a long, long way to go. And we're super excited about that, and especially the fact that we're the exclusive brick and mortar brokerage, on properity there, and so we've got a really good in, and we're really excited about.
So did they open the offices already? Because I've been to Babcock Ranch probably about, I want to say about 3 years ago when they're kind of really getting going. Probably pre-pandemic time, they kind of started getting things going, and I know they were starting to build a little town there, and I mean it's like a big master plan community. I mean, there's a golf course, and you said a second one coming in.
Yep, there's one golf course right now, Babcock National. There's another one coming that's actually being designed by the Nicholas Design Group. That's going to be Webb's Reserve. But yes, they have a town center. There's a full-on high school.
Oh, wow.
I believe it's a charter school. We've got a strip mall in the middle of being done right now. There's already a Publix, another strip mall. That's where our office is. The amenities there are top notch. I mean, they've got every community has its own amenities, but then Babcock has amenities throughout it. So the town center, for instance, every Friday night they have live music, on the lake. On Sundays they have a big farmers market or green market.
Okay.
On Friday night when they have the music, they have food trucks, every Friday night. So it's really family oriented, but it's also there's something for everybody.
I've heard a lot about it, and again, I knew that they were a solar company, but when power gets lost or something like that, I mean, you got your kind of own little almost probably grid there. I would assume that's how it's going to be working down the road. Hey, a quick break here on the podcast. If you're enjoying this information, make sure you like and comment. Make sure you leave us some questions so we can, go back out and figure those out for you. And if you need to figure out how to move here to the Sarasota area, or you need help figuring out the market, just give me a call, shoot me a text, or shoot me an email. Now let's get back to the show. And now, so they got one golf course that's going now, another one coming.
Yep.
Not private yet, but there's a possibility. I mean, I guess
it's kind
the
of
members
semi-private.
Okay.
It's the developer still is in control of Babcock National, but as soon as the members take it over, which is going to be very soon, they're almost done with that community, and they're moving on to the second one I mentioned. So once they do, then the owners will have a little more say in how public the course is. I think it'll always remain public in the off season because there's just not as much demand.
Right.
But during the season, when everybody's here, it gets pretty crowded, and they're going to start trying to control that a little better.
So going back to how Will does real estate, so I know he's been in Jupiter a long time, done a lot of business there, and now going over to the East Coast, you're kind of handling your business in both areas. What's nice about that is in Jupiter, you mentioned some of the country clubs, and because you've done with a lot of exclusive stuff, especially with your company, that like capital contributions are like $200,000, $300,000, and there's all kinds of crazy fees. But this whole new Babcock Ranch thing, they're just in the infancy of getting going, so the fees seem to be much more reasonable to get into that community.
For sure. I mean, there's multiple levels of country clubs throughout southern Florida. We've got the highest of the highs and the more down-to-earth regular guy clubs as well.
Yeah.
And Babcock is probably more towards the down-to-earth regular guy club. On the East Coast, we've got clubs that actually are as high as $350,000 a year to join, and then you've got dues of well over $30,000.
And you've sold properties in these communities.
I've sold properties in the majority of them, and I really love doing that. 10 years ago, they really needed my help and were hurting for members, and everybody thought, in the golf industry that, these country clubs are in big trouble. I actually remember having a conversation with Tom Fazio, a world-famous golf course designer, and he was giving me this sob story about how his career's over and it's done.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, COVID changed all that. As soon as COVID hit, everybody from New York and the Northeast who was, I guess, trapped in their homes said, you know what, we're getting out of here. Instead of traveling.
I'm 55, 65 years old. I'm done with this. Let's get out and play golf again.
Yeah. And they didn't want to travel as much, because everybody's worried about getting sick. So they, a lot of them just decided we're going to buy homes in these country club communities. So that market went nuts. And we saw property values double and triple. And now there's literally no inventory, and most of those clubs are on 3 and 5 year long waiting lists. So it's tough to make a living as an agent selling that when there's nothing to sell.
There's nothing to sell, so you had to kind of direct them on other country clubs that are in the area, because you're doing a lot of business in that southeast Florida and now southwest Florida. So when they want to, especially life in a golf course community, you're definitely the guy I want to call, because you've kind of been through a lot of those different clubs, and you kind of understand the inner workings of each of them. And I think those are all different for different people. Like some are okay with 100,000 contribution, some are good with 10. You're going to be able to help them understand what's best for them.
Correct.
And their lifestyle and their budget, because there's so many options in those. But like you said, I mean, it's high demand, And even when people are like, oh my gosh, the market's falling, you're like, well, great, but not in these really desirable areas.
Yeah, for sure. And the clubs, I mean, we've got at least 30 to 50 clubs, just in Palm Beach County alone.
Oh my gosh.
And there's major diversity amongst the clubs. I mean, you have your strictly hardcore golf clubs, and that's all they offer.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got more of your resort style clubs that have tennis and spas and multiple restaurants and a lot of kid-friendly activities. So though we have a lot of clubs, there is a lot of diversity among them, and I can definitely help people get familiar with all
Figure out each one's best.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, I know on our coast over here, Marius, my business partner here, we were talking the other day, our area here on the West Coast, there's so much new construction.
Yep.
And a lot of it is away from the water because everybody built by the water first. I'm sure it's the same on the East Coast.
Yep, definitely.
But now Babcock Ranch being built down there, that's a massive new convention. Now, they're how far are they from Fort Myers? Because I know it's between Sarasota and Fort Myers.
Yep.
So you said about an hour, 15 minutes to get here?
To Sarasota, yep. And it's about 25, 30 minutes to get to the beach from Babcock.
Oh, so to Fort Myers?
To Fort Myers Beach, yeah.
And then that
downtown.
makes the airport really close, so you're only 30
convenient.
minutes.
Yep. It's a great location because we're right on the outside of everything, and they're building so much stuff that eventually you'll never leave.
It's its own community.
There. Yeah. It truly is going to be a city.
Yeah.
It's only a matter of time.
Well, if you got 4,000 homes and you're going to how many homes?
Over 20,000.
20,000.
Yeah.
So you're a quarter of the way there, if that.
Yeah, we're talking over 50,000 people when you consider.
Okay, well, I think you're good for the next 5 years.
Yeah, we should be pretty busy. Yeah.
So price points in that area, because I know when we're talking about the homes that you've been selling over in Jupiter. Again, you said you deal with any price point, which is I think it's amazing because a lot of agents, Marius and myself and our team, will be anywhere for you.
Yep.
You need $150,000. Might be hard to find, but we'll help you figure it out, and we'll go to the millions. But and we've done all those, and you're the same way. You say, I've done these communities, Dan, but just call me if you want to know about the Jupiter West, Southwest Florida, and now your company. And you definitely do consulting from both sides.
Yep.
They just need to reach out and talk to you about that. But the price points, I think, is what most people don't understand in Florida because they think everything's so inexpensive here.
Right.
And it's gone up. So you really got to put the budget and lifestyle together.
Right.
And I think that's something you talked about. You're an expert at, especially in these counties that you've been in for so long because you're like me. Hey, enjoy the beach with your family. I love Florida, I mean, there's the storms and there's all things going, but I'm pretty happy, I mean, it's tough in August.
Yep.
Yep. September's not bad. October's pretty nice though,
Yeah,
so
sure is.
But so is there any kind of other things that people should know about Will that maybe you need to make sure they know about? I mean, we have your information here. Yep. You're going to have your contact information below, but there's some other things that you need to put out there.
Well, like you, I'm here to help people. I really, truly enjoy helping people, and it doesn't matter if you're buying a $30,000 condo or a $3 million property. I've sold everything. I've sold multi-million-dollar lots. I've sold multi-million-dollar waterfront and golf course properties. But I've sold first-time buyers $250,000 homes too, or even back in the day, $100,000 homes.
Yeah.
So I've sold it all. I truly am here to help people, and that's what I enjoy doing. I'm not stuck on a specific price point or a town or even a county. I'm here to help people that want my help, and I enjoy doing that, and I'd love the opportunity to help as many people as I can.
That's great. Yeah. Well, I think that if you want to be, anywhere in Florida, you can help them, but especially if I'm looking to talk to somebody on that southeast Florida, I'm calling you. And now with Babcock Ranch, because I really don't know a lot about it, we're going to reach out to you and send our clients over to you because you're so familiar with it. Your company is invested in that community. You even said you guys are the exclusive broker. Other than the builders having their models and stuff.
Yep.
They can come to you and figure that area out anytime.
For sure, and it. Even today, it's a humongous project. I mean, we've probably got over 15 different developers in there. There's over 15 builders. We've got a lot of people like to buy in there, and then they realize, hey, my needs are changing, or hey, there's this new community coming up that's even a better fit for my needs.
Yeah.
So they do bounce around. So we do have a lot of resales in there as well as new construction. But the communities as well are just so diverse. I mean, one of the communities is called Tucker's Cove, and it's really geared towards families. It's actually got a water park in the community.
Oh, wow. Just going to have one special part.
In that one specific community, they're going to have a lazy river running through it. So we've got stuff like that. We've got 55 plus communities. We're going to have 2, golf course, country club communities that, I've already mentioned. But there's a lot of diversity among just the subdivisions and the builders in there. And it is important to work with somebody who knows that, because it really can save you a lot of time, and help you avoid some of the pitfalls that, unfortunately occur in this
definitely.
industry.
Well, and I think that also you kind of got to the area I was going with. I meant to go earlier was price points. I mean, where would you say the low point is? Least expensive home?
Yep. And
would you say the top expensive home is maybe just in Babcock Ranch?
Just in Babcock Ranch, we've got condos, I'd say, starting around $250, and then we go all the way up to 1.6. But there's even going to be we're in phase. We're about to complete phase 1. Phase 2 is definitely underway. But at some point, there's going to be a community that's much more custom homes with bigger lots.
Yeah.
So we'll even have homes probably in the 2 to 3 million range.
Crossing that range, coming up.
It's, but right now they're really focused on building the infrastructure. I mean, they've got multiple dog parks, skate parks, pickleball courts everywhere.
That's so popular now.
yeah, and I mean, so many big community pools. I mean, it's so impressive the amount of amenities they have, and it is awesome that you don't have to just be in one community and only use those amenities. They've got amenities that everybody in Babcock can take advantage of. So it's this cool little spot, and becoming very, very, very popular.
That's great. Well, I think that we'll wrap it up with this. You got Will's information. His information will be down in the video we have here. You'll also be to go to his channel as he builds things and get his information. You'll have the availability of this same podcast on your channel and mine. And if you have any questions about Babcock Ranch, or even like Jupiter especially too, because again, if I was to move over there, I'm a surfer, I like it, and if I want to move over there, I would no idea where to start with it.
Yeah.
Like Sarasota County, Manatee County, I got you covered. I lived here 30 years. I've been here. I drive back and forth. I know every inch of the area. My business partner, he the same way.
Yeah.
We've got this area figured. But if I'm going, down there into the Fort Myers area, which is great, your company's got so much vested there, but you kind of got that whole bottom South Florida covered
for sure
with you guys.
And I lived in Martin County, which is just north of Palm Beach County, for years. I still have my kids there, or adult kids.
Yeah.
And just the difference between Martin County and Palm Beach County is so diverse. So, I cover a large territory. There is a lot of diversity amongst it. I tell people, a lot of my clients are coming from out of state, so I'm really a tour guide and helping them get familiar with things.
As I am, yes.
Yeah, and it's funny, I tell people often, hey, you'll meet more people in Jupiter from New York and New Jersey than you actually meet from Florida.
Yeah.
But 30 minutes north of there in Martin County, it's more of a small town feel, and
Midwest.
You do see more Midwesterners and more local or Floridians. But even though they're close together, a lot of diversity amongst them. I love both places. Better waves in Martin County.
Yes.
We don't get blocked by the Bahamas like they do down south.
Yep.
Golfing, gas, things can be a little more cheaper the farther north you go, just like when you come out west here, it gets a little more cheaper as well.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. People want to live near the water, and that's where they started building. So anything new tends to be farther and farther out west.
Right.
But we're still really close to the beach compared to a lot of the communities up north, who have to go an hour or two to get to the beach.
Well, and Babcock Ranch sounds like a great value.
For sure.
You start looking all over Florida, and you're trying to, and a lot of people that do move to this area are buying a lifestyle.
Yeah.
So, and a budget, hey, my budget's this much a year or this much a year, but everybody's still looking for a lifestyle that they've kind of planned for or want their family in, or schools. And I know a lot of Florida school districts are, doing much better now than ever in the past. So
it's funny. As a buyer's agent, I always tell my clients, we're really looking for motivated sellers as much as we are a house. And that's what's nice about the Babcock Ranch area right now. Jupiter and Martin County, they don't have the inventory that we're seeing over here in Babcock Ranch. Since they're building so many houses, I mean, we're talking probably over 1,000 a year. The inventory is just constantly adding up.
Yeah.
A lot of people are not here at Babcock Ranch in the summer months, so things really do slow down. So we tend to see inventory picking up more and more. So there's no question there's a lot of opportunities out there for not only people looking to buy a second home or move here year-round, but even for investors. The more these communities get developed and finish out, the more appealing they come to tenants or or families looking
because
to
more
relocate.
amenities around and everything else.
Right, and they're not dealing with construction going on all around them. At the same time, there's some advantages to buying a house in a brand new community where you're the first home there. You got to deal with the construction, but hey, you might get a really good
you get a little more warranty.
And,
you get some special I would say kickbacks, but more incentive from the builders and stuff like that.
And when the community's done, you more than likely have a whole lot more equity in your property than the guys that were the last guys to buy. Yeah, because we know these developers, they're constant, and builders, they're raising their prices.
Yeah, supplies aren't going down, labor's going up.
So definitely lots of opportunities. And, I'd love to help people no matter what coast or county or town you're looking in.
Okay. Well, that's great. Well, thanks for coming on the studio here and in the podcast. We'll definitely put all your contact information below. And until next time.
Awesome. Thanks, Dan, so much.
Yep.
I really appreciate it.
So thank you for sticking around with us this episode. We hope you enjoyed it. We hope you got some great information. And we look forward to working with you in the near future. Just give us that call, shoot us that text, shoot us that email, and we'll be there for you. Hey, make sure you sign up for our newsletter down and below here, and shoot out some comments if we can help you out with anything. You guys have a great day, wonderful week, awesome year. Thank you for listening to our podcast.